Hey everybody, it's Jeff M. here with you at Hohokam Park in Mesa, Arizona. Welcome to another edition of Rounding Third. Today we join you from the Valley of the Sun, and we're glad to have David Forst with us, the general manager for the Sound's parent club, Oakland A's. And David, we're, as we tape this, a week away from Oakland's opening day, 2 weeks away from Sound's opening day. How many of the pieces of the puzzle still need to be put into place?
Man, I wish it wasn't as many as I'm thinking, because it's time to get out of here. We'd like to have the 25-man roster in place. But we got a few decisions left to make. We're going to head up to the Bay Bridge series for a few days and then cut down the roster after that.
We know it's hard to separate Oakland and Nashville. They kind of are always tied together, but for the sake of the big picture, as you start to look at what could be a Sounds roster, with all of the depth that you guys have added over the last couple of years and the prospects that you've developed, it seems like it should be a very loaded club.
Yeah, we're excited about what that roster is going to look like, particularly from a position player standpoint. I mean, we already know Jorge Mateo, Sheldon Noisy likely to be there. Some of the outfielders we signed this offseason, Anthony Garcia, Nick Martini. It's going to be a good position player group, and we're figuring out the pitching side. And we've had some injuries here in camp, unfortunately, so that's going to affect our decision making. But it's always important to us to have a good team there in Nashville and make sure plenty of guys are ready to help us in Oakland like they were last year.
There's always sort of this trickle-down effect when a move is made, and Jonathan Lucroy brings a lot of depth, a lot of positives to the big league roster, and then it makes for some other difficult decisions at catcher elsewhere.
It does, yeah. That's when you add a guy like Lucroy, who obviously helps a big league club, it has that trickle-down effect. We did have Josh Fegley go down with a couple of broken fingers the other day, so it looks like Dustin Garneau and Bo Taylor will be the catching combo to start the year in Nashville.
On the mound with guys like A.J. Puck and Grant Holmes, who may not be ready on opening day, and maybe that's not clear yet, but that seems to be the case. What does that mean for the rest of a potential Sounds rotation?
It means that we have to figure out where the rest of the rotation comes from. But yeah, Puck and Holmes are obviously important parts of that rotation. Hopefully will be once the season begins. But you know, we're looking at a number of guys. Trevor Cahill, who obviously was just signed, is probably going to go down and make a couple starts there with Nashville, so that'll be nice. Brett Anderson signed to a minor league deal. I would expect to see him there, and we'll have to fill in the rotation around those guys.
It certainly seems like there's no lack of options, which is a good thing. The guys always want to be in the big leagues, but in the big picture, if you've got 8 or 9 guys for a 5-man rotation, that's not a bad thing for the club.
No, it's something we absolutely need, and you and the Nashville fans saw last year how many guys came up and down, and both position players and pitchers. So anytime you're the 1, 2, 3 starter in Nashville, you're bound to be in Oakland sometime soon.
In the mind of the general manager with a week to go till opening day, is it just kind of like fingers crossed, please nobody
it's just don't get hurt. I literally sit up in the box there all game long thinking, don't get hurt. Don't get hurt. I mean, spring training, this was actually probably the shortest spring we've had in a while. It still feels a week too long. You know, obviously AJ went down last week, and you just hold your breath anytime a position player goes towards the wall or something. So I'm ready to get home.
System depth seems to be about as deep as it's been in a long time.
Yeah, there's a great group of position players. We've seen, just from the 2017 draft alone, Will Toffee, Greg Dykman, Nick Allen, Austin Beck, all those guys have been up in major league games and performed. And you know, a lot of these are college guys, maybe start the year in Stockton, but I wouldn't be surprised if you saw some of them before the year was over.
Well, in Nashville, we've been so lucky to see Olsen and Pinder and Chapman all come through. Is it fair to say that now it's sort of about determining kind of that next wave? Who's coming up to follow those guys?
Well, there's still a couple guys. I mentioned Mateo and Noisy, and likely Franklin Barreto starts the year there, and that's a pretty darn good infield to start the year with, and guys who absolutely will be with us at some point.
David, always great to catch up. Thanks for making time.
All right, Jeff, nice to see you.
That's A's GM David Forst. Thanks for being with us on another edition of Rounding Third.